Hey, what's going on? I'm BoneSickle, and this is Hawken on the PlayStation 4. In this video, I'm going to talk about the stats of the Nief, which is the PlayStation Plus exclusive mech, and I'm going to pronounce it Nief because it's spelled like thief, and so it probably rhymes. So the way that you would obtain this mech right now on the PS4 is to be a PlayStation Plus subscriber, and then you can go to the add-on section of Hawken in the PlayStation Store and click the little thing, and then it should become available at the very top of your mech web in the mech selection screen. Now, I'm not claiming or pretending to be an expert at this game or even very experienced, so please keep that in mind as you watch a video. And hopefully, if you're new to the game or if you're just interested in the Nief, then maybe I might say or show you something that will help you out. Do please remember that this is a free-to-play game and is therefore subject to undergo changes and updates, so anything you see or hear me describe might change eventually, or it might have already changed if you happen to be watching this video long after it was posted. Now, as we look at the stats for the Nief, I'm going to rate each stat on a 6-point letter scale, A, B, C, D, E, F. And the grade is relative to all of the other mechs' individual stats. So in other words, an A or a B means that this stat is really good compared to the exact same stat of all the other mechs currently in the game. If the grade is a C or a D, then it's mid-range, and E and F are for the low end of the spectrum. The point of this is to specifically show you how this mech compares to all of the other mechs available at the time that this video is posted. So it's based on comparison, not based on averages, if you want to get mathematical about it. So the Nief gets an F for armor. It's definitely on the low end of the spectrum there. But for the fuel tank, it gets an A+, because it has the best fuel tank stats out of every single other mech available in the game at launch. Boost speed, it gets a D. For fuel regeneration, the Nief gets an E. For ground speed, the Nief gets a D. But for air speed, it gets another A+, because once again it has the highest possible stat for air speed. It also shares that particular accolade with the Generation 2 Berserker, both of which have the same stat for airspeed, but no other mech has better airspeed than the Nief and the G2 Berserker. For radar, the Nief gets an F- because it has the lowest possible radar range, which means, nicely enough though, that if you play with the Nief and you're comfortable with your radar, then pretty much anything else is going to be an upgrade. There are several other mechs that also have the same stat for radar range as the Nief, and they all get an F- as well. For overheating, the Nief gets an E, and for dodging, the Nief gets a C. So once again, this is just to show how these stats compare to the other mechs in the game. The Nief is pretty nimble, pretty agile, to balance out the fact that it is pretty fragile. So I guess you can get in and get out with that really good fuel tank and that really good airspeed. You should be able to maneuver around and dodge your way out of some sticky situations when you... Now we're going to take a look at the weapons. The Nief has a bilateral weapon system, has a seeker on both sides, and the seeker, I really do like the seeker. It has a moderately low rate of fire, really good accuracy. Everything else is pretty mid-range, but the best thing about it is that it has this auto-targeting feature, which I suppose is really good for new players. So if you are a PlayStation Plus member, you might strongly prefer this over the other starter mech available in the game, the CRT Recruit, because the Nief does have these weapons that have slight auto-targeting functionality. So moving on to the face buttons, every mech has a special ability activated by pressing the X button. The special ability for the Nief is to increase your damage output for a brief period of time. Remember that your special abilities do work on a cooldown system, so you can use it over and over in a single life, just as long as You wait for it to finish cooling down and become available for use again. Definitely want to use that whenever you feel necessary. The square and triangle buttons are for your items. The square button item for the Nief is a deployable turret, which you can kick out at any good choke point or high traffic area, wherever you see fit. The triangle button item for the Nief is a detonator missile, which fires out, moves pretty slow, and you can hit the triangle button again to manually detonate the missile in flight if you want to cause it to explode mid-air. It does have a really big blast radius, and that's a pretty good item. Looking at the internals, finally, these are basically the passive abilities for each mech, and what the Nief starts out with for internals is the ability to do a mid-air dodge with the basic air compressor, it looks, and a fuel converter that converts 3% of the damage that you take to fuel. So this video turned out to be a lot longer than I would have guessed that it would be. I do have a video for some complete gameplay matches using the Nief. I will link that in the description in case you might be interested. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope that was at least somewhat helpful. Maybe it was, maybe not. Maybe it won't be as things change and things are added to the game. We'll see.